Now, before I go to the next caller, we touched on, monarchies, we touched on oligarchies, democracies, and a little bit on anarchism, but I want to deal with republic. And I really wish that there was a caller like Sarge that was on the line, because, and that's from Collar's show. He's a right-wing Republican. I don't know if he classifies himself as a teabagger or whatever, because, they kind of get offended by that term now. That everybody's, started clowning it. But I would love to talk to them, because these constitutionalists and small government people, they just make me laugh. And because it's the hypocrisy, it's certain things that they have that is so hypocritical and doesn't really make any much ideological sense. Because, like I said, to me, minarchism and small government people are really anarchists who don't want to come out the closet. Because when you really think about it and you look at it philosophically and ideologically, the reason why they're against small government is because they really value the individual, right? They're saying that the individual is the biggest ideal. It's not about the collective, because I remember I heard Sarge on Collar's show say that he's not a fascist, he doesn't believe in centralized this and that, whatever, and that's cool. I mean, I don't have a problem with that per se, but take that to its natural conclusion is what I'm saying. The anarchist principle is voluntarism. This association should be voluntary and not under coercion of force. So, if you don't want small government, or if you don't want, let's say, no, I rephrase that. If you don't want something to infringe on the rights of the individual, then you have to get rid of government. You can't have a small government. You can't have a small state, because it's not going to happen. Anytime you create a government, the government is going to expand. Why? Because when you create the government, you create a group of people who are above the law. Because in a society, if any government official, unless they turn each other in, you can get away with practically anything. You can get away with murder if you want to. If you're in the CIA and you just want to go in the streets and blow somebody's brains out, if you got the right position and the right title, you think you're going to do any jail time? So what are you going to attract when you start a government? You're going to attract a bunch of people who are, first of all, egomaniacs and sociopaths who want to get into a position where they don't have any accountability for what they do. That's who you're going to attract. And keep in mind, I'm taking this from the position of the minarchist or the teabagger or the small government person. So it's just like with Alex Jones. His show is dedicated to government corruption. In the title of his show, big government, corruption, da-da-da-da-da. He goes through this whole entire diatribe, but he's not an anarchist. Because he's been approached by anarchists, and they say, well, damn, since government is naturally corrupt, and since we have all of these systems trying to fool the people, why not just get rid of the government? Whoa, hold on, slow down. What do you mean get rid of the government? You just said the government is corrupt. So if the government is naturally, innately corrupt, either you're trying to create some Bible situation where you have the God and the devil fighting eternally, or you want to get rid of it. Then you see the true colors of the teabaggers and the small government people come out. They really just want their own individual piece of the pie. They don't give a damn about the individual in the abstract sense. It's very specific for them. Individual in terms of their own self-interest. That's it. They don't give a damn about anybody else except their own reality. And I would love for one of them to call in so we can have a discussion, because I have some very deep questions to ask them, like law. Let's talk about law. And let's talk about taxation, because for the anarchist, taxation is force. Because the anarchist thinks like this. If you put a tax on something, what if I don't pay the tax? How are you going to assure that I do? You're going to use force. You're going to forcibly extract what you need from me in order to sustain yourself. So once you put a tax on something, there's automatic force. Once you create a law, and keep in mind I'm talking about from the anarchist perspective, when you create a law, you're creating the concept of force on a group of people. Why do you think, let's take the issue of gay marriage. Gay marriage is such a hot topic in America right now because once you make something a law, it absolves people of guilt. So let's say, all right, I'm going to use an extreme example. Let's say that you make homosexuality illegal in the United States and say, if you're a homosexual, we're going to arrest you, we're going to jail you, da-da-da-da-da. What that does is it makes the person now in the society that law is made feel justified to kill homosexuals or commit acts of violence against them. Why? Because it's the law. Hey, you were breaking the law, buddy. So the real question for the Teabaggers is, and it is another thing they're so hypocritical on, if you're about the individual, then ask yourself this question. Does an individual have the right to be homosexual? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Small government people. What's your answer to that? If you're so much about the individual, are you going to give the individual the certain amount of rights that you want them to have? Or are you going to just say, listen, I don't want no control over your life. What you decide to do with it is your business, and I have nothing to be concerned about it with. But see, that's where you get the contradiction, as Warlord was talking about. There's contradictions in these systems, because no matter what system you go with, anarchism, oligarchy, autocracy, all of them, at some point the society is going to lean in a certain direction because it's no balance, and then you're going to have to bring it back the other direction. So I support maybe a form of government that doesn't even exist, and I'm not intelligent enough to put all these systems together and come up with one, so I think that's a collective discussion. But I just want my take on that in terms of the small government people, because there's a lot of contradictions with those guys.